Here's a green double humpy. It's like a 2-for-1 dry fly on the same hook. Now because you are tying basically 2 dries on here, you want to try to be careful about crowding the front of the end of the hook there, or you'll run out of space. I'm going to start with a base of thread here. I'm just going to go the whole length. Give it something for the deer hair to kind of hold on to, especially towards the back end of the hook here. First material is going to be that deer hair. It's a big part of this fly. It's all over the place. So we're going to take a section of it here for our tail. I'll put it in the hair stacker. A couple of pounds on the desk. Those tips usually are nice and even at the end. And we'll tie that tail in right here at the back end. Cut off some of these extras so they just don't go over the eye of the hook there. I'm going to bring that back to the back of the hook where that tail is and start the next part. I'm going to use green floss for the body. So I'm going to get that tied in here. And then back to the deer hair. I'm going to use this deer hair for the wing. Make sure I get the right amount here. It should be good. And that goes in the hair stacker. I like to even up these butt ends sometimes. Doesn't really matter, but I like to. I'm going to take this a little bit longer than the tail, just to kind of break it up and be able to manage it here in a minute. Now these butt ends are going to help build up the body section, kind of bulk it up, give it some extra bulk. Now we take this green floss and make that body section. Next up is the hackle feathers. You can tie these in one at a time. I usually take a shot at tying them in both at the same time. If that doesn't work, I'll just go back to one at a time. But hardest part sometimes is getting those tips to line up even, so you can tie them in once. Okay, looks like I got them there. Come in here and tie those in place. Now with those in place, we're going to bring the deer hair back, the part that we're using for the hump, and then the wings. It was the longer section, so we should be able to separate that here like this. Bring that over the top for the hump. Then we're going to stand it up with a barrier of thread in the front. And now we're going to split it into two wings. Do a little figure 8 here. More barrier there. And a couple of wraps of the hackle. And tie those off. Going to kind of hold that stuff back. Try to get a good surface to start the next section. And then tie back in the green floss. More deer hair. This is just for the second wing section. Even out those tips. Now on this one, I definitely like to trim the butt section because it's going to be up against the eye of the hook. You can see that floss kind of wrapped around the bobbin and the thread. So we're going to try to release that, put it back here where I should have the first time. Get that body in there. That deer hair for the body. Wrap that floss again. You can cut the floss to a shorter length if it's more manageable. Won't wrap around the thread and the bobbin maybe as much. I prefer not to cut my materials until I know I've used exactly the right amount, but sometimes it just is in the way too, so personal preference kind of thing. Now we want to separate that deer hair again from the rest of it. Tie that down. Bring in the hackles. Before we wrap those, we're going to bring those deer hair up for the wing. Build that barrier to hold it up. Split it into two different wings. And now get that hackle in there. And the final step, of course, is a nice little whip finish. And there you have the green double humpy.